I bought a kid a bus pass when he couldn't afford one. He became my son's heart surgeon. I used to drive a city bus on the Route 12 line for 23 years. Same route every day, same stops, same faces. You get to know the regulars after a while. One morning in October, this skinny kid got on at the Westfield stop looking absolutely terrified. He was maybe 15, wearing clothes that were too big and sneakers held together with duct tape. He fed coins into the machine, but it wasn't enough. The fare was $2.25, and he had maybe $1.80 in nickels and dimes. He just stood there, staring at the machine, and I watched his face crumble. He whispered that he was sorry. He'd get off. That's when I noticed the textbooks under his arm. Advanced biology, organic chemistry, books way too advanced for his age. Where are you headed? I asked. He said Franklin Academy, the magnet school for gifted students on the other side of the city, the one you had to test into. I told him to sit down and not worry about it. His eyes went wide. He asked if I was sure. I said just pass it on someday, kid. He rode my bus every morning after that. I never charged him once. Found out his name was David, and he lived with his grandmother in public housing because his parents weren't in the picture. He'd been accepted to Franklin Academy on a full scholarship, but the scholarship didn't cover transportation. Bus fare was $4.50 round trip, 5 days a week, 9 months a year. That's over $800 annually, money his grandmother didn't have. So every morning, David would show up at my stop with whatever change he'd scrounged, and every morning, I'd wave him past the fare box. Sometimes I'd leave a granola bar on the seat I knew he liked to sit in. He was always studying, always reading, always hungry in a way that had nothing to do with food. One day I asked what he wanted to be when he grew up. He said a heart surgeon. He said his grandmother had a bad heart, and he wanted to learn how to fix people like her. Most kids that age want to be athletes or musicians. This kid wanted to save lives. I doubled the granola bars after that. 4 years I drove David to school and back, watched him grow from a scared freshman into a confident senior. He'd tell me about his classes, his grades, his dreams of medical school. When he got accepted to Johns Hopkins on a full ride, he came to my bus stop with a card signed by 20 of his classmates thanking me for never leaving him behind. I kept that card in my glove box for 15 years. After David graduated, I didn't see him anymore. He went off to Baltimore and I kept driving Route 12. I retired at 62, moved to a smaller house, and spent my days fishing and watching my grandkids grow up. My son Michael had gotten married and had a baby boy named Thomas. Life was good. Then life got terrifying. Thomas was born with a heart defect. The doctors discovered it at his 2-week checkup, something called hypoplastic left heart syndrome. Half his heart hadn't developed properly. Without surgery, he wouldn't survive his first year. The surgery Thomas needed was incredibly rare. Only a handful of surgeons in the country could perform it. Our local hospital referred us to a specialist in Philadelphia, a doctor who had pioneered new techniques for exactly this condition. We drove 5 hours to meet him, my son and daughter-in-law exhausted and scared, me trying to hold everyone together while falling apart inside. The surgeon's name was on the door of the office. Dr. David Okonkwo. I saw it and felt something stir in my memory, but I couldn't place it. We sat in the waiting room until a tall man in a white coat walked out holding a tablet. He started explaining Thomas's condition to my son and daughter-in-law, but he kept glancing at me with this strange expression. Finally, he stopped mid-sentence and said, "Excuse me, sir, but did you drive a city bus? Route 12? I felt the air leave my lungs. I said, "Yes, I did. For over 20 years." His whole face changed. He set down the tablet and walked over to me. "Mr. Raymond," he said. "It's me, David, from Westfield." I couldn't speak. I just stared at this man who used to be a skinny kid counting nickels and dimes. He told my son and daughter-in-law that I used to let him ride for free every single day because he couldn't afford the fare. That without that bus ride, he would have had to drop out of the only school that could get him to where he is now. He said he'd thought about me hundreds of times over the years, but never knew how to find me. He looked at baby Thomas sleeping in my daughter-in-law's arms, then back at me. He said, "Your grandson is going to get the best surgery I've ever performed. I'm going to treat him like he's my own family because that's how you treated me." The surgery lasted 9 hours. David came out and told us Thomas was going to live a full, healthy life. My son broke down in the hallway. I found David later in the hospital chapel, still in his scrubs, and I hugged him for a long time without saying anything. He pulled back and smiled. He said, "I guess I finally passed it on."